Happy post-Thanksgiving, everyone. Thanks for being here. We're here to talk not only about the city's proactive winter engagement strategy, but to share some incredible infrastructure investments that have been made a reality just in time for winter. And joining me in this effort are OEMC Executive Director Rich Gaitis, Department of Family and Support Services Commissioner Brandy Kanazi, Department of Streets and Sanitation Commissioner Cole Stoddard, Assets Information and Services Commissioner David Reynolds, Building Department Commissioner Matt Baudet, People's Gas Director of Field Support Services Charlie Graham, ComEd Vice President for External Affairs Rich Negron, and Public Buildings Commissioner Executive Director Karina Sanchez, Department of Public Health Medical Officer Chief Medical Officer Jennifer Sa, and from the Fire Department Commissioner Annette Nance Holt. I probably forgot someone, and if I did, you'll let me know. This winter, we must be deepening our efforts to make sure our streets are clear and that the public transit options remain reliable, allowing folks to get around the city and to and from work. We'll also continue to uphold building codes to prevent anyone indoors from succumbing to the freezing cold temperatures that we expect to be arriving here in Chicago soon. And for any and all residents who need a warm place to take refuge or to go to sleep, we will have warming centers available across the city as we traditionally do. During extreme weather, these critical city services, among others, will be available round the clock, 7 days a week. And when it comes to outreach, we know that we will continue to expand our reach across every community in our city, ensuring seniors, individuals living with disabilities, and other vulnerable residents, and particularly those experiencing homelessness, receive the support needed to make sure that they are able to survive in the cold weather. And I don't need to remind folks that we are still very much in the midst of a pandemic. And the many challenges of COVID-19, coupled with the inconvenience and life-threatening conditions that cold weather and extreme weather brings every year, that means we got to utilize every tool that we can to protect the health and well-being of our residents. I want to also talk about the amazing structure that we're standing in front of today, the Grand Avenue Salt Dome Replacement Facility. This structure was created to cover a previously exposed pile of salt used by city workers during icy conditions. It allows for the storage of 60,000 tons of salt. And I would say to the cameras, if you haven't been inside to really understand and appreciate the full dimensions of this building, you should. This project represents a dynamic partnership between AIS and the PBC, along with Streets and Sanitation, who worked diligently over the past several months to design the dome, enhance landscaping to make sure that it fit into the neighborhood, and obviously to make sure that it can house the salt that is kept and needed for our city streets. This was funded through our Chicago Works 5-year capital plan, which was launched earlier this year, and is designed to improve the quality of infrastructure for our residents across many, many neighborhoods. It has already started to put thousands of residents back to work, helping the city simultaneously recover from the economic fallout of the pandemic and address a decades-long backlog of infrastructure needs. I want to again commend the PBC, all the team that's here, Director Sanchez, and AIS, because as I sit and preside over PBC meetings, we're seeing over and over again projects that we know are necessary to help support our city infrastructure moving forward, getting approved, and that is really as a result of the partnership between the PBC and AIS. So thank you, Commissioner Reynolds, thank you, Director Sanchez, and the entire team at PBC for doing, as always, a great job. Let me also say that the state-of-the-art salt dome isn't the only investment that we've made to prepare for winter. And Commissioner Stoddard will detail, in particular, a new technology that we put into place called turn-by-turn navigation, and that's a system that's now available in all 50 wards. DSSS has also received 20 new salt spread trucks and 4 new front-end loaders, which will significantly enhance our capacity to de-ice and clear roads and side streets. And again, thank you not only to Streets and Sands, but the team at AIS and Commissioner Reynolds. These are just a few of the infrastructure investments that we will be putting in place this winter and beyond. Let me also just say, if you want to get extreme weather alerts from OEMC, visit notifychicago.org. That's notifychicago.org. You can also call, if you have an emergency, 911, and first responders with information specific to you and your family in an emergency will respond with the Smart 911 profile at smart911.com. That's smart911.com. And when you're on the roads, obviously we encourage everyone to drive carefully and considerately if you have to go out. But please listen to the city alerts. If there's a time when we believe that there's an emergency, we're going to let you know that. And we encourage people not to go outside during winter emergencies if that's not necessary. And also, as always, don't hesitate to call 311 for assistance or 911 in a case of an emergency. Finally, let me just say, we need to take a special care regarding this time of year regarding COVID. We see that the world is really paying attention to this new variant, Omicron. We have been diligently tracking this, but the bottom line is this. We know from our experience over these last 20 months that when you go inside, people let their guard down. You need to remain diligent when you're inside and indoors, particularly as the cold weather sets in, because that is the breeding ground for COVID-19. And I can't say this enough. If you are unvaccinated, you are putting yourself and everyone that you come into contact with at risk. Do not be one of those folks in the hospital on a ventilator wishing that you had gotten vaccinated. Do it now. Do it now before you start to see the signs of COVID come into your life and not only hurt you, hurt your family, but hurt the entire city. We know the data is clear that COVID-19 and the various variants, Delta is still the predominant variant here in the city of Chicago. It is unrelenting against people who are unvaccinated. So take the time now. Sign up nearby. We will come to your home and give you a vaccination in the comfort of your own home. But whatever form it takes, don't continue to delay. Get vaccinated because it's necessary to save you, your family, and our city so we can put the COVID-19 virus behind us and protect yourself against any new variant that may come to our city. With that, I'll turn it over now to Rich Gaitis, the Executive Director of the Office of Emergency Management Communication. Rich.
Thank you, Mayor. And good afternoon. I'm Rich Gaitis, Executive Director of the Chicago Office of Emergency Management Communications. Today, we're here to assure residents that the City of Chicago has services available to help residents cope safely with extreme winter weather conditions. Our top priority is public safety, and the City of Chicago is committed to keeping Chicagoans safe from dangerous conditions by coordinating the city's response efforts to weather emergencies. To ensure the city is prepared for the winter season, OEMC hosted a winter workshop in October with public safety, infrastructure, and various city departments and agencies to plan the coordination of operations for this winter season. In February 2021, the City of Chicago received more than 20 inches of snowfall. In 2022, according to the National Weather Service, we may experience a more active weather pattern across our region, including periods of both very mild weather and deep cold, as well as a potential for above-average winter participation. Basically, your typical Chicago winter. Regardless of weather predictions, we want to ensure that everyone considers how the cold and changing weather conditions may impact your planning and to be prepared. Cold weather can not only be a nuisance, it can be very dangerous. Throughout the year, OEMC monitors conditions with the National Weather Service and coordinates response efforts with the city departments and public partners to notify residents of any advisories, warnings, and emergencies. Additionally, OEMC hosts twice daily conference calls with our citywide partners in order to stay connected and adjust resources as needed. These standing conference calls happen 7 days a week, regardless of what is happening in the city or weather conditions. It is important to stay informed, and that's why OAMC issues several text alerts and notifications to keep residents and businesses up to date on weather conditions and emergencies. Residents can sign up at chicago.gov/OAMC, and they will include Notify Chicago, Chi Lake, and Chi Biz. This winter, it is also important to create a smart 911 profile to provide 911 and first responders with emergency information specific to you and your household. Excuse me a second here, folks. That can get you help you need in an emergency. Profiles can include information on medical conditions, important household information, pets, emergency contacts, and more. This is a free and safe service. To create a profile, visit smart911.com. As the city braces for the winter months ahead, it's critical for residents to take care of themselves and continue to provide assistance to neighbors, family members, pets, and friends, particularly those who are elderly or have disabilities. Staying connected is key to being safe. It is imperative to keep informed of weather conditions. OAMC encourages residents to keep an emergency kit at home and in your car because you never know when you're going to need it, and it can save lives. Those seeking a warm place to go or require an overnight shelter can call 311. Visit 311.chicago.gov or download the Chi 311 app to be connected with available services and to learn about the city's designated warming centers, which you'll hear more about from the Department of Family and Support Services. For information on additional winter weather preparedness tips, again, I encourage everyone to visit OAMC's website, chicago.gov/OAMC, and follow us on social media. I'd like to thank the City of Chicago departments, agencies, and organizations who come together to keep Chicago safe, not only during the winter season, but all year round. And now I'd like to introduce Commissioner Brandy Kanaz of the Department of Family and Support Services.
Thank you, Executive Director Gaitis. Good afternoon. My name is Brandy Kanazi, and I am the Commissioner for the Chicago Department of Family and Support Services. It is my pleasure to be here today, joining Mayor Lori Lightfoot and other city leaders to announce services DFSS will be providing during the winter season. As you know, nearly every year, the city of Chicago experiences bitter and harsh winters, and sometimes even dangerous weather. To ensure our residents are safe during the winter, DFSS will provide assistance to our most vulnerable residents through the help of warming centers, transportation to shelters, and response to well-being check requests. During the winter months, DFSS works with more than 50 nonprofit and delegate organizations to ensure homeless individuals and seniors in our communities remain safe. DFSS activates warming areas at the city's 6 community service centers when temperatures are at 32 degrees or below freezing, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. One of those facilities, our Garfield Community Service Center, located at 10 South Kedzie, is open 24 hours a day to connect residents and families to emergency shelters. Due to the ongoing pandemic, the centers may operate at reduced capacity, and residents must wear face masks while in the warming areas. During extremely cold weather, DFSS will reach out to shelters that typically operate for 12 hours a day to remain open for 24 hours a day. And services such as short-term stays, food and showers, and warmth will be provided to clients. DFSS also manages outreach teams that conduct well-being checks on vulnerable, unsheltered residents during cold weather. Those teams also make home visits to check on the elderly and others who may be experiencing difficulties during the cold and snow. If you see someone trying to survive on the street or in other public venues, or if you know of a friend or relative who may need assistance, please call 311 with the location of the individual. This will allow us to quickly follow up and provide the required assistance. In the case our facilities are not open, there is a network of city facilities such as police stations, libraries, and park district locations that are available to residents, providing a space where people can go and find relief from the cold. Transportation to a shelter is always available to residents who need assistance by calling 311. That simple call can save someone's life. A list of community service center locations can also be found at chicago.gov/FSS. Information and multilingual flyers containing warming center information in English, Spanish, and Polish are also posted on the DFSS website at chicago.gov/FSS. Now I'd like to pass it on to Commissioner Stollard with the Department of Streets and Sanitation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kanazi. Good afternoon. I'm Cole Stollard, Commissioner of the Department of Streets and Sanitation. I'm grateful to stand here with the Mayor Lightfoot and the city agencies who work hard each year to protect Chicagoans during the winter. At Streets and Sanitation, safety is our top priority during any winter storm. In fact, we start preparing for winter storms in the summer. Today, Streets and San have a fleet of over 300 plows, and we're prepared to respond to snow when it's needed. We also have more than 400,000 tons of salt stationed at salt piles throughout the city, including several thousand tons behind me in this new salt dome, which we're very grateful. You're looking at 30,000 tons behind us, and it has the capability of holding 60,000 tons. Each year we monitor weather before and during each storm. We work with our weather service and tools like the Doppler radar, cameras, road sensors, to watch for snow and ice so we can get ahead of any hazardous conditions that the roads may have. We adjust our resources before and during a storm based on what's happening on the streets. Please check our Department of Streets and Sanitation Facebook and Twitter accounts for deployment updates, and visit chicagoshovels.org to view our snow fleet in real time during the storms. I'd like to also remind all residents that the city's overnight parking ban takes effect this Wednesday, December 1st. Parking will be restricted on 107 miles of the city's main roadways and between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., regardless of snow, till April 1st of next year. The city implements this ban to help ensure the roads are safe and passable for motorists, buses, and emergency vehicles. Please double check all posted signage before you park to avoid being ticketed and towed. I'd like to give a special thank you to all the city departments, along with the men and women who work hard to keeping Chicago safe and moving each winter. At this time, I'd like to introduce Charlie Graham, Director of Field Support Services for People's Gas.
Good afternoon. My name is Charlie Graham, Director of Field Support Services for People's Gas. I'd like to take a moment to thank Mayor Lightfoot, the Office of Emergency Management and Communications, and to all of the city officials and team members for hosting this important event. The safe and reliable delivery of energy to heat Chicago homes and businesses is our top priority at People's Gas. Our highly skilled crew members maintain and modernize the system every day so that Chicagoans have heat when they need it most on those coldest days. And our crews are prepared 24 hours a day to meet any unexpected winter challenges should they occur. There are some simple steps People's Gas customers can take to help ensure safety and reliability at their homes and businesses. If you smell gas or think a gas line is damaged, leave the area immediately, and from a safe location, call People's Gas. The number to call is 866-556-6002. That number is also available on our website at peoplesgasdelivery.com. It's also important never to use your stove or oven to heat your home. It could and can lead to carbon monoxide poisoning. Have your boiler or furnace inspected regularly, and make sure all natural gas appliances have proper ventilation. Make sure you have working carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors, and test them regularly. Understand the dangers and symptoms of carbon monoxide. If carbon monoxide poisoning is suspected, get everyone out of the house and call 911, or seek emergency medical help immediately. Keep the area around your furnace and water heater clear of clutter and any flammable items. If your gas meter is located outside, gently remove any snow and ice that can build up and cover them, either by hand or with a broom. And remove overhead icicles to prevent dripping water from refreezing on your meter and pipes. Additionally, if you have a high-efficiency furnace or water heater, please keep those exterior vents clear from blockage. Keep your walkway leading to the meter clear for accessibility in the event of an emergency. And for any Chicagoans struggling to keep up with bills for their heat, People's Gas is here to help. Income-eligible customers may qualify for financial assistance. Bill payment assistance is available through the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program and also through the Share the Warmth program. To see if they are eligible and apply, People's Gas customers can contact the Community Economic Development Association. The phone number for them is 800-571-2332. And the website to go to is ceda.org. That's CEDA.org.net. People's Gas also will work with any customers to arrange a payment plan that best fits their needs. We can also set up budget billing that keeps bills stable from month to month. To discuss these options, customers can call People's Gas or go to peoplesgasdelivery.com. Thank you very much. With that, I'd like to introduce Vice President of External Affairs for ComEd, Richard Negron. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jesus Naras, External Affairs Manager for ComEd. Rich was not able to make it here today. With that being said, ComEd is committed to keeping the lights on, and that means throughout the year. So albeit winter, summer, we're here for our community, and we've made investments in our infrastructure to make sure that our equipment can stand during any times. As of right now, winter brings a unique challenge to our grid and our customers. Extreme cold and ice can be damaging and cause interruptions. As we do every year, we are completing projects to improve grid resiliencies during the winter months and finding innovative ways to ensure that our customers have energy when they need it. Since the starting smart grid in 2012, ComEd achieved best on record customer satisfactions throughout the 9 years, and we continue to make these investments and so that we can have the great resilience we have now. Recognizing the economic challenges resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic continues to challenge many Illinois families, ComEd offers a range of programs to help eligible customers pay their electrical bills. These include flexible payment options, financial assistance for past due balances, and users alerts for customers. Any customer experiencing hardship or difficulty with their electrical bills should call ComEd immediately at 1-800-334-7661, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. to learn more and enroll in our program. We also suggest or recommend that you get a free home energy assessment, receive rebates on qualifying Energy Star appliances, and smart thermostats, and save instantly when in-store discounts on LED lighting and other products. And like I said, winter brings a unique challenge to our grid and our customers, and we believe at ComEd that we're ready to keep the lights on, to keep our families nice and warm, and to support Chicago how we have been doing for the last couple of years. We also would like to say that we've already ended our residential cuts that typically we start in December 1st. We've already ended that. And anytime there's any issues with disconnections or whatnot, we try to make sure that we take weather conditions into considerations before we do anything else with customers. So that's all I have for now. With that being said, I'd go ahead and reintroduce our mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, last week when you were asked about maps, you said one of the things that was important is that it can't be introduced at the last minute and then voted on as has been done in the past. But it's looking like the Rules Committee, chaired by your floor leader, is going to be introducing maps on Wednesday that'll be then voted on Wednesday. Is this the kind of transparency that you're looking for?
Well, look, I've been very clear about where I stand on this issue, but this is, in the first instance, something that's led by City Council. But I've been very clear with all members of the body that if they do something that doesn't allow for public sight of a map before it's voted on, that's going to be something that they're going to have to deal with the consequences of that. I think the people in the city are very hungry for input, and there has been an opportunity for input, but input without actually seeing a map and what the results of that are, I think, really falling way short of where they could be. There's been a lot of discussion, and that continues over the last week, over the weekend, even today, about remap, and my hope is that they will reach some kind of consensus that allows remap to be seen by the public, have the public have an opportunity to be to weigh in on, and then an up or down vote in the members of the body.
What kind of public viewing does there need to be of this? Because they're supposed to be introducing their own.
You got to
maps.
show the map. You got to show the map. It's pretty straightforward.
If that was a follow-up, can I just ask you about your concerns about Omicron and what that could mean for coming to Chicago? And I know you addressed it a little bit, but how big a concern is that? And should it be an overreaction or not an overreaction to it?
Well, I don't think we know quite yet, right? There's literally thousands of scientists and epidemiologists across the world that are working on this issue. Our Department of Public Health is very much in the mix, particularly with our federal partners, understanding what the research and the data shows. So we're going to keep being engaged in those conversations. But fundamentally, as Dr. Arna and I said earlier today, people have to get vaccinated. The longer you wait, the more risk you're taking, and the reason that these variants are able to develop and take hold is because we still have way too many people unvaccinated across the world, but that still is an issue here in Chicago. If you are not vaccinated, you are taking a higher risk than anyone else that you will get COVID, you'll get one of these variants, and we don't know at this point what the level of effectiveness is of the various vaccines against these variants. That's one of the streams of work that's going on right now with the manufacturers of the various vaccines and epidemiologists working in public health across the globe. But the bottom line is, don't take that risk. Don't roll the dice. Get yourself vaccinated.
Heather. Hi, Mayor.
Hi, Heather.
Given that it's less than 36 hours until the deadline for the maps, is it time for you to sort of change your approach in letting the City Council deal with and weigh in yourself so that residents of Chicago have a chance to look at that map before it's approved?
Well, I have gotten engaged. I was invited by a number of different folks to get engaged, and I did. I convened a meeting over the weekend. We spent several hours putting issues on the table, trying to narrow those issues and get to some kind of consensus. Obviously, it was my hope that that would have happened over the weekend, Sunday at the latest. That didn't happen. Those discussions continue. But as I said, I've been very clear about what my views are on what the map-making process should be. It's unfortunate that it's coming down to the last minute, but there has to be transparency. People have to see a map, and many aldermen haven't seen a map. I haven't seen a map per se. I was involved to try to narrow the gap between the competing sides. But they'll either get something done or they won't. And obviously Wednesday is an important date, but it's not the last. It's not going to be the last word, I don't believe, on a map that's going to dictate what the wards look like over the next decade.
Will you veto a map if there isn't 12 hours or 24 hours?
I'm not going to put those kind of artificial restraints on a process. The process, I think, has been very tough. There's a lot of emotions that are built up on all sides. I think that people need to come to the table, play the long game, and get something done. Whether the council is going to be able to get themselves organized in a way that makes it happen, I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to try to keep listening and talking and pushing, but ultimately, whether or not they get to 41 and a consensus is up to them.
Hi, Mayor. Happy holidays. What do you know about the firing of Tiffany Harper and Ashley Evans from the Treasurer's Office? Are you aware of the illegal and unethical conduct they wanted to sound the alarm about? And if so, how concerned are you about the issue they raised?
I look, the Treasurer's Office operates obviously independently. She's a separately elected official. I know that the Treasurer has adamantly denied the various allegations that were brought forth by those now former employees. I know obviously that there was a legal settlement, but that's really the sum and substance of my knowledge or involvement.
How did Norman Kerr perform as your violence reduction czar?
He did well. He did well. He has an opportunity to take, I think, the work that he's done here in Chicago to a national level, and we look forward to continuing working with him.
Hi, Nancy.
Hello.
Hi, Nancy Hardy with WBBM Radio. On the Omicron
Yes.
variant, are you satisfied with the amount of genomic sequencing going on? Are we to assume that it's already here in Chicago? And how do you feel knowing that 1.2 million people came through O'Hare over the last week?
Well, you packed a lot into those questions. Look, the Chicago Department of Public Health for some time now has a relationship with Russ Hospital where we're doing a tremendous amount of surveillance on people that have tested positive across the city. We don't have any reason to believe at this moment that Omicron is here, but given the way in which this virus and the variants have spread, I think we have to assume that it will get here at some point. We still are seeing overwhelmingly that the variant that is here in Chicago remains the Delta variant. But we have to take heed of what we're seeing across the world and take precautions, and we have and we will. But bottom line is people have to get vaccinated. If you're vaccinated, you have less of a possibility of catching COVID, and if you catch it, much less possibility of having any serious sickness or side effects. If you're unvaccinated, you're exposing yourself entirely. The people that are getting sick, that are ending in the hospital, and the people that are dying are almost uniformly unvaccinated. There's no reason to take that risk. We want people to get vaccinated. And as for the number of people that are traveling, look, my hope is that people took the precautions, that they wore their mask from the minute they set foot in an airport, got on a plane, and got out of it, and are following their body and their symptoms. If they see something or they're feeling like they're sick, then they need to make sure that they get tested and connect up with the doctor.
Last question from Mary.
Mayor, back to the city and the vaccination rate, it's climbing up as far as those responding to the portal, but still, January 1, you need to be vaccinated. So
Yep.
What about, especially with those police officers who still are not getting vaccinated, what are you going to do to get them there by January 1?
Well, we are doing a number of different things. One, we're educating. We're continuing to educate. We're continuing doing outreach. We're doing vaccination events at city departments that have the lowest number of vaccination rates. We'll continue to do that, but people need to get vaccinated.
And on casinos, some of those who are involved in the casinos are saying that you have flip-flopped on your position on sports books. Can you explain that for us?
Well, I don't know what flip-flop means. Sportsbook has been the law of the land since the General Assembly passed the law in late spring of 2019. That's the law. So we'll have Sportsbook in Chicago. Many people are already participating in Sportsbook through the app. So my position has been clear. It's the law. We're going to abide by the law. We'll have an ordinance that's introduced, and my expectation is going to be voted upon in the time for the December City Council meeting.
So it will not impact the casino, the Chicago casino?
No, of course there will be some impact. There's never been any suggestion that it won't impact it. The question is how much. The reality is that you can't watch a sporting event now without seeing an ad for FanDuel or Sportsbook or this DraftKings or one of the other ones. Sportsbook is in our DNA and blood system now in the city of Chicago and really across the country where it's legal. So the question is, how do we manage this in a way that benefits, frankly, Chicago taxpayers? And that's really the only question. There's been some dire warnings that have been issued by some who actually also already use sportsbook at their own casinos and who are trying to kill sportsbook here in Chicago. They have not put forth any, I think, convincing evidence that says that the sport by allowing the sportsbook to go forward as the General Assembly allowed 2+ years ago, that somehow it's going to cannibalize. It's going to cannibalize a casino here in Chicago. We certainly haven't seen that. We have seen zero indication that that's the case. We've asked for information. If there's something to the contrary, we have not gotten it. So there's a whole lot of talk, but there's not a lot of data to back that up. And obviously, my first concern is making sure that we've got a casino that generates the kind of revenues that we need to be able to shore up our police and fire pensions. I wouldn't allow something to move forward if I felt like it was going to undermine that incredibly important opportunity. And we've seen nothing in our own research or any that's presented to us that it's going to do any of those things. We've heard a lot of talk. And we've had a lot of talk by people who would profit by not allowing the sports teams to do sports, have a sports book of their own. But talk is talk. Facts and data, that's what I'm about.
All right, thank you.
I'm not aware of the facts of that. We'll look into it and we'll get back to you. But look, I'll say this. We have a crisis in the city where we see way too many young people who are involved in carjackings, going to juvenile court, and they being put back on the street to their parents. And we have a number of instances where we see juveniles with 3, 4, 5, in some instances 11 pending cases in carjacking. That's insane. And so I'm going to be meeting with the juvenile judges here relatively soon to address that issue. We've got a crisis, and it's a crisis that they've got to actually own some responsibility for. We cannot keep putting these kids back out on the streets with no support, no resources, no monitoring, and all they're doing, and we see it literally every day, they're repeating the offense because there's obviously a larger problem that has to be addressed. We as a city are willing to step up and do our part and provide resources for these young people. DFSS, CDPH, other city departments, other community-based organizations have a plethora of resources that can help support these young people and turn their lives around in another direction. But what doesn't make sense is to do nothing and keep putting them back on the street for them to reoffend and threaten somebody's life. And carjacking is one of those crimes that really strikes at the core of people's sense of safety. If you've had somebody put a gun in your face under any circumstances, let alone take your car when you're getting your groceries or you're doing some normal routine, it is life-changing for those victims. And our courts have to recognize that. And right now I feel like they do not. It's a terrible thing that the criminal courts, whether it's in juvenile or adults, seem to act with no responsibility for what it means to put violent, dangerous people back on the street, particularly these adults, frankly, who are orchestrating these young people to get involved in these crimes. There's got to be a measure of accountability. I'm not saying lock every young people up and throw away the key. That doesn't make any sense. We know that's a failed policy. But to have so many juveniles that are involved in this kind of violent crime and no accountability, no services, no sticking hand up between the court and back on the street is insanity. And we have got to turn things around. And we are willing as a city to step up and do our part and put money into programming and resources. We have that already, but we've got to get the cooperation of the courts. They've got to step up and own responsibility for this, and they have failed to do that thus far. I'm hoping that we can turn that around, and I'm certainly going to push and advocate for that very thing, as I have been doing for a year and a half with the adult court. But the presiding judge, the chief judge, they've got to step up and own responsibility for this part of the criminal justice system that is solely within their province. Thank you.